Was privileged to connect years ago with a great missionary couple, Daryl and Michelle Wright. Daryl's now with the Lord, but the work that they began in Cuba and continue to do for so many years continues today through the ministry of Christian Family Life, through the ministry of Emblaze, and through other ministries that because of his inspiration, Daryl Wright's inspiration, are there today. Daryl shares a story of him sitting with denominational leaders in Cuba in around 2005. And he asks them, what's your greatest need? And these national leaders in Cuba said, in the midst of revival, people coming to know the Lord, baptisms, people finding hope in Jesus when there was really little hope to be found in other places, they said to Daryl, our greatest need is for marriage. Our pastoral marriages are falling apart. Marriages in the church are struggling. We need something for marriage. And it was there where Daryl knew where he was going to go and have a conversation with Don and Sally Meredith. Well, there's a lot more to that story because here we are all these years later, and God has expanded a tremendous ministry. And so we're going to take time today because we get the question all the time. So what's going to happen in Cuba and what's going on in Cuba? And so after all these years of ministry, we'd love to share more with you about that in today's podcast.
What started as a question, God, you created marriage, can you make it work? Soon became a statement, God, you created marriage, you can make it work. Thank you for joining us on the Christian Family Life podcast, where we get into the good, the bad, and the ugly in our marriage relationships and mine God's word to see what it has to say about it. We want to welcome you to another episode of Christian Family Life while Roland and I share a cafecito, which is a special drink that we both grew up drinking in Miami to Cuban immigrant parents. How about that, man?
Yep.
And so today we just want to encourage you and to challenge you and also to have you pray for what God is doing in the country of Cuba in regards to the gospel message. And so Roland, here we are all these years later doing ministry together. We grew up together. I think a lot of people that have been on the podcast or listening know that you and I met in kindergarten, and that all these years we grew up in Miami, which was considered Little Havana.
Yep.
And we heard all the stories. We got all of the background, and our parents did a really good job of maintaining the culture, but yet living in this country as well, and contributing to this country. But I know for years, both of us had a desire to go back to, or to go to Cuba. Not go back. We've never been to go to Cuba, and maybe God would use us to impact a few people in the country with the gospel message.
Yeah. The story is pretty amazing because you really grow up hearing all the stories about our parents, our grandparents growing up in Cuba, the beautiful island that it was, but establishing and really growing roots here in America, where you're going to learn the language and you're going to get an education. And this is where God has brought us. And we describe the opportunity to go back and minister in Cuba as really a dream. We didn't know to dream. It really wasn't something that we anticipated. There were thoughts, hey, maybe one day we get to go back. But little did we know that growing up in Miami, that the Lord would bring us to Charlotte, where the invitation would come to be a part of the work that God's doing in Cuba. Tame and I moved to Charlotte in 2007, and it was there that Don and Sally had already interacted with Daryl and Michelle Wright, had already done an exploratory trip to see how the To Becoming One marriage material could be used in Cuba and the impact that it could have. And so they used their own resources to translate the material into Spanish. And they use their own resources to begin to raise up leaders in Cuba that would take this material and train other couples and begin to come alongside of the church in Cuba, which was experiencing tremendous growth.
Which is interesting because it's the same thing that was being done domestically. Coming alongside pastoral couples, lay leaders, investing in them, training them and equipping them and resourcing them to go back into their community and invest in marriages.
Yeah, so here this happens, and around the same time, Gio, and the role you were in with baseball, doors had opened for you to go into Cuba and utilize the platform of sports to get in there, and then 6 years ago, the Lord brings us together to continue the marriage work that God's doing in Cuba. But here's something I think is relevant to the current work that God's given us there, that I think a lot of times people don't know, because there's really so much to share. In fact, I'm guessing that today's podcast is going to be a little bit longer than the usual, but I do think it's important to know the background that Gio and I come from, as well as my wife Tammy, all of us having grown up in Miami, all of us products of Cuban immigrant parents. And so, Gio, give us a little background of just how deep the Cuban roots go. It's kind of like that T-shirt with an American flag, but then it has these hands kind of peeling the layers of that flag back, and then underneath you see the Cuban flag.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like American born, but Cuban parts.
Well, it's interesting. My parents immigrated, both of them, in '62, but they weren't married. My dad was 13 years older than my mom. My mom came in what was called the Peter Pan movement, which I won't go into detail. You can go and research it. There's a lot of information out there. But what I would say is it was close to 15,000 children that parents literally put on a plane to go to Miami.
Yeah.
And the Catholic diocese came alongside of them and helped board them with the hopes that they were going to go back to Cuba, but that never happened. My mom is 83 years old today.
Wow.
And she was 17 when that happened, and has never stepped foot back in Cuba. My dad came as a young man. He was 33 years old, or 30 years old, had already started a few businesses there. And as history would tell us, the revolution made everything national, state owned. And so my dad eventually immigrated as well. They met in Cuba. They met in Miami, and then they got married. They met 3 months. They were married after they met. And my brothers and I grew up in Miami. They did their best to learn the language. My mom was fluent. My dad, what you call it, a little Spanglish.
Yeah.
And but eventually they figured things out and made an opportunity for us, which is really the Cuban story here in the States. Is no matter what you had to do, you did it to get ahead. And so I'm blessed. All my brothers got an education. That was the one thing my dad made us, like, I don't care what you study, but you're going to get an education. And so today we sit here thankful for the sacrifices that my grandparents made, and then that my parents made to give us the opportunities that we have today.
Yeah.
And we're not taking, we don't take it lightly. And the fact that the Lord has given us the opportunity to go back to a country that our roots are from, to share the gospel message through the platform of marriage, has been really special.
Yeah. And it's important. What you mentioned is an important aspect of our work that needs to be highlighted, because while there are certainly relevant, important political conversations to have that really have to do with human rights and how people are treated really all over the world, but how important it is to recognize that the true hope and fulfillment that people will find in their life is Jesus.
Yeah.
And so Christian Family Life as a ministry what we share with pastors locally is let's do more for marriage than respond to crisis. And then when it comes to the global work that we do, especially in Cuba, is we travel to communicate the hope of Jesus, and we use platforms like sports ministry and VBS and medical missions, and we build buildings. But what are we doing to really break cycles? And so for close to 20 years now, Christian Family Life has been utilizing the platform of marriage in Cuba to point people to the greatest hope, which is Jesus. Gio, you shared the response that one of the national leaders in Cuba shared regarding some of the challenges that they may face with sharing the gospel and the church operating as the church in Cuba, and their response was pretty powerful.
Yeah, it was one of those, because we're sitting at a table with them and right there in Havana, and they said, you know, we're left alone because there's too many of us believers now, and the church is doing what the church is supposed to do, and it's being recognized, feeding the hungry, going into nursing homes and helping the elderly. Stuff that unfortunately right now is people aren't able to do that in the country unless they're helped from resources like Christian Family Life and other ministries. I'm not just highlighting us, but there's a lot of good ministries that are going in and helping out. But really the resources, the humanitarian aid, the ministries like Atulado Ministries that we partner with, that we have sent, I don't even know how many containers of rice now, fortified rice with vitamins and so on. But those are all really the tools to be able to be heard.
Yeah.
And to draw people to a place of hearing the gospel message through for us, it's the platform of marriage. And we've got a really good friend in Cuba, Osmani, that sports has been their platform, and they've done an incredible job. But even they have invited Christian Family Life into the partnership because they understand the need for the parents to be impacted. And so it's just been beautiful just to hear the testimonies there. I think one of the most powerful ones for me was a gentleman that is able to leave but has chosen to stay.
Yeah.
And I asked him why, which is really a dumb question when you're talking about the gospel.
Yeah.
And he said, why would I leave the people that God has called me to, with tears in his eyes? And that's how we feel.
Yeah.
That's how we feel about this country and taking this message in, because we feel like it's our people.
Yeah. And
we're grateful for so many of you that are listening that have gotten behind the work that's happening there.
Yes. Yeah. For like for you, it runs deep. You know, it runs deep for me. My mom and dad were both really young, 7 and 10 years old, respectively. When they have to leave everything behind to come to a country and start over, learn the language.
62 as well?
Yeah.
And all together, they came together.
Yep.
Your family.
The family came together.
That was a rarity back then.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the phrase they would use is, or we all go or no one goes, because you still have that today. A lot of people in hopes of a better future for their family think, well, maybe we have to split up and one goes ahead of the other one. And so people have different philosophies, man. For my family, it was, I remember my grandparents on my mom's side, and on my dad's side, it was the same. We all go or no one goes. And so fortunately, there was extended family that had been able to get out ahead of them, that would be the ones then that would help build a bridge for them to, figuratively speaking, for them to cross and come and start life fresh in the States. And so you get immersed in that, and so this opportunity to be able to take the freedom that comes in knowing Jesus provides a hope. And that's why the church is so on fire in Cuba. That's why the church is so thankful for the resources that we're able to send. We'll mention Atulado again in 2025. Just a few fortified rice packets shy of 1 million individual servings that were distributed throughout the entire island of Cuba. I remember when we were going in, the population in Cuba was just over 11 million. So one of the realities of Cuba is just a declining population through not only people that are moving off of the island, but just an older demographic. And so it's actually under 9 million these days.
Yeah.
And so, man, when you consider realities like that, it's just that reminder of just how desperately our work is. Cuba really is the only country where Christian Family Life is not only doing marriage work, but is doing humanitarian work as well, just because the people, the nationals that are doing the work, just have the significant needs that they have. And so thankful for a good friend who works for a sneaker company, and we're able to take in, probably close to $100,000 worth of just these high-end sneakers for these pastors that walk.
That's what I was going to say. That may not sound like a big deal to us here, but to have a pair of, on clouds, to walk the streets, and it just reminds me of when you talk about the armor of God. The feet, prepared to take the gospel message, and our modern day, it's on cloud or Brooks or and so that partner.
It's so funny to watch them put the shoes on and jump up and down, and it's kind of like when you bought those shoes for your older toddler, and they would go running, and they said, "Look at how fast! I'm so much faster."
And the ministry, the Lord has sustained it through the help of a lot of people, financially giving to Christian Family Life, and bringing these couples together. How many couples do we currently have in Cuba right now that are leading out with CFL?
Yeah, we have 15 couples on staff right now, and we have 3 couples that assume the leadership role, overseeing those couples. But then there's currently 16 provinces in Cuba, and so underneath each of those coordinators, we have leaders represented in all 16 conferences. Formally with about 15 different denominations, but informally we've come alongside more than 30 different denominations in Cuba. In fact, I remember Daryl, when he was still alive, sharing something that was really powerful with me, because Daryl was someone that did gospel work and took a lot of different ministries into Cuba. But he said to us, I've not seen a ministry bridge the denominational gap the way that Christian Family Life has with the marriage ministry. So being able to bring the different denominations together through the work we're doing there, which takes place by empowering the nationals, by providing resources, and so we're able to print the To Becoming One marriage material in country, along with printing Bibles in country. We just made a big financial contribution for Bibles to be printed there to come alongside the marriage discipleship curriculum that we have, to then conferences that our national leaders run, to the retreats that our national leaders hold, to the trainings that are done in the churches that they go to. And so all we're doing from this side is trying to resource them.
That's right.
And really, as we share more of this information with you, we hope that you'll partner with us in doing so. Your financial contributions help fuel the efforts to take the hope of Jesus and the impact that it can have on marriage and relationship.
I want to make sure that as you're listening to this, that you don't hear anything political, because it's zero political. It is all about the gospel for us. There is no desire for us to be in Cuba other than to take this message with us, because we know that it impacts, and we've seen it since 2006 really begin to transform couples, churches, communities all across the island. I know that it's, as you mentioned, all those denominations that we've been able to cross over with are very grateful for the ministry of Christian Family Life on the island. But one of the things that we don't highlight very often, we probably should, is how God not only uses marriages as a platform to share the gospel,
Mm-hmm.
but the visual side of it, where we've been able to send upwards to 300 to 400 dresses over the last several years, to wedding dresses.
Yes.
And these wedding dresses are, I mean, picture your child going to the prom or
Mm-hmm.
homecoming or whatever. A lot of these couples have not had the opportunity to have a wedding or a wedding dress. And so at the end of these conferences, or at the end of the discipleship study, there's always going to be some sort of a renewal of vows.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a parading of the couple
Yeah.
in their wedding dress.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes into the community.
Yeah.
And people are asking questions,
Mm-hmm.
which ultimately leads to the gospel message,
Yeah.
Christ in the church.
Yeah, that's been a neat ministry that really Christian Family Life pioneered through the leadership of Daryl and Michelle and Don and Sally early on. It's like, why don't we take wedding dresses that here in the States are used one time, and in Cuba they'll be used 25, 30 times over. And then, the stories we share are really how a wedding dress changes the world, because many of these couples didn't have a wedding ceremony, much less get to wear a wedding dress. And so when you begin to remove the obstacles that potentially discourage people from doing what they would really want to do, which is to have a wedding ceremony and honor God and declare publicly the covenant relationship that they enter in. And as you remove those obstacles, it's just a beautiful thing. Mm-hmm. Here we have individual weddings where that couple is a center of attention. In Cuba, it's 12, 13 couples, 20 couples. To them, it doesn't matter. What's important is that ceremony. Yeah. And then they all get to share the cost of the cake together. And in many cases, the church just covers the cake and the punch that they provide. And like you were saying, we have pastors that, because they have this tool of wedding dresses to offer, they can do this ceremony with multiple couples. And then they get creative with it, and they're like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to walk through our village. Mm-hmm. We're going to walk through our little town, up and down the streets. And so you have these couples walking through the streets, and then what happens is people join the little parade. They end up at the church, and the pastor has a captive audience. And so he not only walks these couples through their vows together, but the gospel's clearly shared, and even an invitation where people get saved, and other couples are going, maybe we should do that. Yeah. And so, man, the marriages are strengthened, children are happy, church is growing, and ultimately people are encountering Jesus. Yeah. Because marriage should be just that. When we look at the love between a man and a woman, we should see the kind of love that Christ has for his church. Gio, you mentioned the political side. And so I think that it's important to communicate that as this is recorded in the year 2026, that we're very well aware of, some of the challenges that are taking place right now, which is really what prompted us to record this podcast, because we do get a lot of those questions. And so what we would say is that the current situation in Cuba is really no different than the situation in any country around the world, and that there is a desperate need for Jesus. Yeah. But because of our extensive work there and the way that we resource the nationals, that the urgency is as the ministry is as urgent today as it's ever been. And so your financial resources help fuel that. Because the greatest thing for Cuba is the same way it would be for any country, is that marriage and families be strengthened. Yeah. Like we reference the Communio study a lot, and what a staggering number I came across the other day in that study, that because of the work that they did over 3 years in Jacksonville, Florida, that they not only reduced the divorce rate by 24%, but they saved the taxpayers in Jacksonville $65 million because they didn't have to have programs addressing children who were growing up in broken homes and just some of the practical needs.
That's incredible.
that they would have. So from Jacksonville to Havana, to Vancouver, to Cartagena. I mean, wherever.
Wherever. And that's our desire and our mission. Roland, as we close, I know that we've talked a lot, and you've got like a series of where resources are going to start. And I know our people are number one. Can you kind of break that down real quick as you work through, like, we're going to make sure the people are taken care of, and then this is the second thing, and third.
Yeah.
That way, if somebody is interested in supporting the work, they have a good idea.
Yeah, so number one is the people. In ministry, we differentiate. People in ministry are not paid to minister, they're paid so that. And that's truly the case in Cuba, where we have people that are licensed counselors. We have people that are educated doctors. We have people that are lawyers, accountants, engineers. I mean, the educational background of these people, they could be doing anything, but when they feel the call to ministry and we're able to resource them in a way so that they can, it's people first. People ask us, what's our greatest need? And I think about the passage that says the fields are wide unto harvest. Pray the Lord of the harvest send laborers into his field. And so that's our prayer, is that we have greater resources to be able to support more people to go out and do the work. The second thing is resources. What the country of Cuba needs is not more people going on a mission trip there. What they need are resources. Now, with those resources, they desire relationship, just like we all desire relationship. But they don't need anybody going in and doing the work for them. They need resources to continue doing the work. And so Bibles, the To Becoming One material, you think about the easy access we have to pretty much, any book we want or any item we want. We go online, we order it, and it's, express shipping. Well, we are that for them. And so your resources help fuel that. The third piece would be the programs. Underneath the programs are trainings, retreats, conferences, counseling that our team is able to do. So from people to the resources, to the programs that we offer, to then lastly, the humanitarian resources. Probably at the top of that list is transportation. And so if we can put, in some cases, we give them great shoes to walk around in, but how much better is it when we can put wheels underneath them? And so it's certainly fun to be able to resource them with either a scooter or a motorcycle or whatever it is that allows them to get around, where their ministry only multiplies, and they truly are these messengers that are mobile and able to get around. So that's it. So from people to resources to the programs we offer to then the humanitarian aid that we're able to provide.
Yeah. And we have seen the impact. God has affirmed the work in that country all the way back from when Daryl and Michelle went and Don and Sally went to when you went to where eventually people that I knew, you knew, and brought us together to all those trips that we've taken. We don't know how many times we've been in country. It's been a lot. But what we do know is every time we go, we're blessed to be able to do this work. And so one of the ways that you can support is just by financially giving. Go to our website, donate button, and be a part of what God is doing, not only here in this country, but around the world.
On the drop-down menu, you would hit Caribbean.
Yeah. Another way is right here, is Engaged Coffee. Anything purchased from Engaged Coffee, 100% of the resources, which, by the way, we just shared a delicious cup during the podcast. 100% of the proceeds goes right back to the work that's being done here. And then also the resources, the books that you buy. When you purchase a book, there is no royalties. Roland and Tammy are co-authors. Don and Sally were authors. There is no royalties that go to them. 100% of that goes to the work that's being done. And so consider the ministry of Christian Family Life. We wanted to give you a little bit of a highlight of one of the countries, of the many countries that we're in. But we know the dire need right now in Cuba, not only for humanitarian needs, but the continued work for the spiritual needs.
Yeah, we have a very unique opportunity, and we can't stress enough the urgency of the timing of the opportunities that we have, and then the kind of impact that'll be multiplied with your support.
Yeah. So thank you for joining us. Pray for us. Go on our social media. You'll see a lot of the different things that are happening in Cuba. They have their own social media page in Cuba. You can see the different things that even in the midst of a very difficult time, the work continues in that country.
Yeah, and so join us in echoing what the church in Cuba is their anthem. Cuba for Christ. Cuba para Cristo.
Thank you for tuning in to the Christian Family Life Podcast. Be sure to subscribe. To learn more about the ministry, visit our website at christianfamilylife.com. There you can subscribe to our newsletter and find all the social media links where we offer resources to help strengthen your marriage. Until next time, remember, God created marriage. He can make it work.